talking about how it is summertime. People want to travel, but gas prices and other things are increasing. That means a lot of people are not wanting to travel as much.
It's getting more expensive. So this issue of Look at OKC looks at traveling on a budget. Now, we spoke to a couple of our friends, Tanner and Amber, who have a few tricks of the trade.
Okay, Amber, we're talking about how to travel on a budget, how to travel affordably. Tell us how you've done it.
Well, actually, we just happened to have gone to San Diego, and the travel, I think, in total between the hotel and the flight was only $350.
Wow.
A lot of that was because we had travel vouchers from flying the year before, because anytime an airline offers to bump you, immediately take it. I know for a fact that Northwest Airlines takes $300 per person for bumping, so that was really nice.
So how does the voucher work, and what's the time period that a voucher is good for?
Typically, the voucher is good for about 1 year from the date you receive it, and you just make sure you take the money and not the free voucher.
Oh. Okay.
Because if you take the free voucher, you're in trouble, because they only have a few flights that you can actually take. We actually had done that, and they converted ours because we couldn't find any flights out of Oklahoma.
Wow.
For an entire year.
So take the money. Heck yeah.
Take the money.
All right, now Tanner, you have some tips too. Tell us what you've done.
More of my stuff has been like road trips.
Okay.
And so I've always kind of done road trips on the cheap. Example being, when you get to a gas station, you don't have to buy food. I mean, you don't have to buy the corn nuts. You don't have to buy the chips. And, spend $8 on food when you're spending $50, $60 in gas. Another thing, I also, maybe a little weird for some people, but I'm not opposed to taking showers at truck stops.
It got weird, you're right.
So,
definitely got weird.
I used to do these trips where I would travel across country by myself, and I had a Tahoe, a big four-door Chevy Tahoe, and I would end up sleeping in the back of the truck. And so for overnight stuff, and
perhaps not the safest decision either.
Possibly not.
It's the boy in me that that's the adventurous type, so it's okay. So sleep in the truck, and then you wake up the next morning, go take a shower at the truck stop. Do what you got to do.
So that's true, you save on hotel costs.
Oh,
right
yeah.
Wow.
And so I didn't have money to travel anyways, but I wasn't going to let that stop me.
Now, you've stayed in hostels?
Yes, actually, we just stayed in a hostel.
Speaking of safety, how safe is that?
Actually, it was extremely safe, and we had security officers walking through the entire time. Wow. The bathrooms, are clean. According to, it was pretty good. They had a service who cleaned them twice a day. So you just kind of go right after they cleaned them to optimum.
Time it by the cleaning guy.
Yeah.
As a cleaning guy,
if you're really concerned with that, if you're doing
my
showers in the truck
My experience with hostels, I was in London, and so we stayed at this place called Omar's, which was in a rough part of London, and we had a great experience. They did move all of our stuff from one room to the next, so sometimes that's a little different, but I would stay there again. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, so tell us the major difference between staying in a hostel and a hotel. Is a hostel more like a dorm room?
I would say dorm room.
Oh, dorm room completely.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever do that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do that because there's probably 7 other guys in that room that I'd be scared to death of and would never fall asleep.
Well, it depends.
I had my own. I traveled with a group, and so there was me and another guy that were staying in this one room. The guys were all together, the girls were all together that were in our group.
Have you seen the movie Hostel?
Yeah. So you just kind of, try to know the people that. If you're going to stay in a hostel, I would definitely say travel with a buddy, travel with someone else. Don't
do it alone.
I do have friends that travel alone, but stuff like that's kind of rough.
A little more traditional. Amber, now you went to San Diego and you also kind of booked your hotel, not your hostel. Maybe it was a hostel, I don't know. But in a location next to transportation, correct?
It was not even a half a block from the trolley stop, which you could use the trolley and the bus. And they have specials depending on the city you're living on. But
so that way you don't have to rent a car.
Correct. I think a day it was $5, unlimited wherever you'd like to go.
Wow.
You just jump on the trolley, the train, it goes everywhere.
Nice.
It was wonderful.
One thing to be concerned about, I'm all about public transportation when you get there. Right. It's kind of rough once you leave the airport and you have, like I said, I used to travel in larger groups and we used to have equipment and luggage and things. And so riding the subway or the train or the bus at peak times with you and all of your gear, if you've got a lot of luggage, it's kind of rough, but the rest of the time you're there, that's the only way to go.
So that brings up a good point. Correct. Does planning really come into play when you're doing stuff like this?
Definitely.
So that you avoid peak times and just hassles like that?
It's what is it? Favor, is good for the prepared, or what is it? Something about luck favors the prepared.
Oh, right.
So if you go into a situation knowing, okay, I know that I'm going to have to be here and there at this time and with these things,
you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, you've done a lot of research, I guess, late at night on the internet. You're researching.
Yeah, I actually try to book my tickets Wednesday night, Tuesday after midnight, up until Thursday morning.
Why is that?
The tickets actually drop in price.
Really?
Not all the time, but you will see that they will rise up to $200 to $300 more on the weekends.
Interesting.
Like week of or far in advance?
Pretty far in advance. At least.
So if I'm booking something for August this week, I should probably try, or next week, I guess at this point, sometime
now.
late Tuesday, Wednesday, or tonight.
Yeah, that would be.
Wow. That is
best.
incredible. I know, and so you knew that little trick too. That's interesting.
Especially international stuff. I'm a Travelocity fan.
Yes.
Oh.
I do Travelocity, but if, for instance, my husband and I wanted to go to a hotel, a nice hotel in Dallas, we went 3 weeks ago. I did it on Priceline, and we stayed in a four-star hotel for $50.
So you bid,
my
bid
A
for
night.
that hotel.
Yeah. Well, no, not specific hotel. I said four-star hotel.
Nice.
You didn't know which one.
I didn't
was
know
going
which
to be.
one, but
I
four-star
think
hotel.
For stuff like this too, I mean, you've got to be okay with not knowing exactly everything that's going to happen.
Perhaps a little adventurous spirit.
Yeah,
Sure.
You got to be adventurous in this. I mean, that's part of the deal too. I mean, you want to come. Like for me, I always want to come back with a good story.
Correct.
You know?
So for you said flying, obviously they're charging more and more for if you have more than one bag and all of that. So you said between you and your husband?
We have one bag and my purse.
That's amazing. I don't know if I could do that.
What size is this bag, though?
It's a regular size. I mean, it's not the one that you can carry on, but it's the bigger one. And we just take versatile clothing. I take a dress that has multifunctions. And
There you go. That's true.
a shirt that I can wear, and a pair of slacks,
There you go.
pair of jeans, and
What more does a
That's
guy
it.
need, though, than flip-flops and a wife beater? Gets you in any door.
Oh dear.
I don't know about that.
I know. Well, these are some great tips. Anything else?
Don't. I mean, it's like
Don't worry about that guy in the next bed snoring at the hostel.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that, and then also, like, I'm a big fan. I'm pretty much cheap to begin with, and so, like, I don't spend money when I travel. As far, let's make sure that's okay. I don't spend. Sorry, Mom. I don't spend money when I travel. I mean, that's a big deal. I'll eat well. I mean, that's not an issue that I plan for that. I do have a thing where it might be a little more expensive now, but I plan $20 a day. So, $4 for breakfast, $6 for lunch, $10 for dinner. That was always kind of a thing for me to kind of plan out. And also, I traveled a lot of places where I knew people. So I could always stay
with
at a
them,
couch.
yeah.
They were happy enough to take me out to dinner. Awesome. And then also, like I said about buying
Tanner's
things.
like, I'll get the breakfast.
Yeah.
See you in the morning. I gotta go. But I travel things that I collect things that don't cost me when I travel. Like I've got a little notebook that in every city that I go to, I try to make it to a post office and get like the round date stamp.
Nice.
From the city, and it tells you the date and the time and everything like that.
Nice.
And that's
Wonderful.
free.
Yeah.
It takes a little while for the post office, and you have to wait in line. But I don't have to buy I was in New York shirt or I love Vegas kind of job. I mean, I'm not really into that kind of stuff anyways, because you throw it away later.
Right.
But my notebook with all my stamps in it, there's not a lot of people that have that. So, if
That's
any.
very cool. That's very cool. Anything else?
just trying to think right off. Back to the hostel really quick. You can book private rooms. There's bunk rooms and private rooms.
Sure.
Upscale hostel rooms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So is it more expensive then?
Maybe $10, $20.
no.
It wasn't so much.
How much is a hostel to begin with?
Mine was $50 a night.
Depends, probably.
Yeah.
That's expensive. We got cheap stuff in London, like $15, $20, $30. But I would say one thing about hostel.
Remember the movie, I know.
Well, we brought our own sheets,
Oh.
so that was something I would definitely recommend. Just bringing like a pillowcase, like a giant pillowcase is what we had.
Correct.
So
Actually, while we were there, my husband and I were discussing, we think we should bring our own pillows because they were rather flat.
Oh yeah.
See, that's another function of the wife beater.
you sleep on your backpack and you're just set. So.
Nice. Awesome.
And one thing I did notice, I actually recently got married within the last 2 years, and I traveled a lot before, and I was on my own, so of course it was less expensive.
Sure.
So then I get married, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's twice as much.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we're eating, we actually share all our meals.
There you go.
Meals today are
Yeah.
huge
I know it.
portions.
I know
That's a good point.
And so we'll do that. In fact, on the way back from San Diego, we had a really nice dinner the night before.
Nice.
And I put it in the refrigerator because we had a refrigerator in our room. And I took it on the airplane and we ate it in between stops.
There you go.
So
Pardon me while I pull out my steak.
No, there you go. That's a good idea for sure.
So I
being conservative, using your head.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good advice.
Plan ahead. So that's plan ahead. Know what you're, like I always set up a budget. I always have like a 20. I know how much things are going to cost.
Right.
And then I also have a 20% buffer that I always plan in.
Wow.
So
awesome.
That's kind of a thing that I do. And when I get home, if I don't spend it, I put it to the next trip.
Right.
Wow.
So. And make sure to be like spontaneous and open to any opportunity because trips can pop up from all over the country for a good deal, and just be willing to go at any time.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Well, Tanner and Amber had some great ideas there.
They did.
I had no idea you could log on to a travel site at a certain time of day or night and find some discounts.
That's amazing. And also vouchers. Of course, I've always heard you can get bumped off your flight so that you can take another flight later. And I was always a little worried about that, but it actually might pay off in the long run.
I'm still worried about the hostels, I got to tell you. All right, learn more and look at OKC.
See ya.